Welcome to the Madison Miller Podcast. Today is Thursday, November 4th, 2021. Today we're going to recap last night's NBA, NHL, Major League Soccer, and college football games. Look ahead to everything tonight. We will preview tonight's Thursday night game between the Jets and the Colts. We'll go over the current leaderboard at the OHL Classic, news and notes, recap last night's episode of The Masked Singer, and my best bet of the day. We're going to start with the NBA. We will recap the games from last night, and we'll look ahead to today. Cavaliers over the Trailblazers, 107-104. Cavs 5-4. Portland 3-5. Jared Allen, 24 points, 17 boards. Damian Lillard, 26 points and 8 assists. Pacers over the Knicks, 111-98. Pacers 3-6. Knicks 5-3. Miles Turner, 25 points, 13 boards. RJ Barrett had 23. Celtics over the Magic, 92-79. Boston 3-5, Orlando 2-7. Jaylen Brown 28 points. Wendell Carter Jr. 13 and 4. 76ers over the Bulls 103-98. Sixers 6-2. Bulls 6-2. Seth Curry 22 points. And DeMar DeRozan at 37 and 10 for the Bulls. Raptors over the Wizards 109-100. Raptors 6-3. Washington 5-3. Fred VanVleet, 33 points, 6 assists. Bradley Beal, 25 points and 7 assists. Nets over the Hawks, 117-108. Brooklyn 5-3. Atlanta 4-4. Kevin Durant, 32.7 boards. And DeAndre Hunter had 26 for the Hawks. Grizzlies over the Nuggets, 108-106. Memphis 5-3. Denver 4-4. Jaren Jackson Jr. had 22 and 8. Nikola Jokic had 34 and 11. Clippers over the Timberwolves, 126-115. Clippers 3-4, Minnesota 3-4. Paul George 32.6 boards, 8 assists. Anthony Edwards had 28th lead, Minnesota. Mavericks over the Spurs 109-108. Dallas 5-3, San Antonio 2-6. Jalen Brunson 31 points for Dallas. DeJounte Murray 23 points, 9 boards and 8 assists. Warriors over the Hornets 114-92. Golden State 6-1. Charlotte 5-4. Jordan Poole 31 points. Miles Bridges had 32 for Charlotte. And the Kings over the Pelicans, 112-99, so best bet was a winner for the first time this week. Sacramento 4-4, New Orleans 1-8. Harrison Barnes, 23 points, 8 boards. And Nickeil Alexander-Walker at 16 for New Orleans. Looking ahead to tonight at 7 o'clock, you have the 76ers and the Pistons. Because of all the injuries and such, I have the Sixers by 1 3/4, total 208.8. Meanwhile, Philly is favored in this game by... Okay, why are... Oh, these are supposed to be lines from yesterday. Where's today's lines? Here we go, 6 and 208.5. I'm going to take the trade in the 6. A lot of injuries for Philly. I think that game's close. 7:30, Jazz Hawks. I project the Hawks by 3.5, total 214.25. Meanwhile, it is Jazz by 1, total 220.5. The Jazz should not be favored when Rudy Gobert and Donovan Mitchell are missing, especially on the road against a solid opponent. Give me the Hawks plus the 1 and minus 102 to win the game outright. Although, I have a nice edge on the under as well, but I don't like it because of Gobert. If you remove him, that's more likely of an over. NBA TV Celtics Heat. I project the Heat by 7.5, total 220.1. Meanwhile, 7 and 213.5. I love the over. Boston's offense, I think, is starting to get into a rhythm here. And I like how Miami's played so far this season. 10 o'clock NBA TV, Rockets Suns. I project the Suns by 14, total 214.55. Meanwhile, it is 10.5 and 217.5. I'm laying the 10.5 with the Suns. I think that this is a good spot for the Suns to get going a little bit here. And then 10:30 of the Thunder and the Lakers. I project the Lakers by 17 till 216.3. Meanwhile, it is 13.5 and 217.5. I'm going to lay the 13.5 with the Lakers, assuming that LeBron and AD will both play tonight. All right, now I'll move on to the NHL. we will recap last night's games and look ahead to tonight's window, which is pretty large. All right, the Hurricanes over the Blackhawks 4-3. The Canes scored the go-ahead goal early in the third period as they are down 3-1 in this game, and they came back and won. Carolina still undefeated 9-0-0. Chicago 1-8-2. This is the longest I remember a team being undefeated in a while. Probably since the Blackhawks in the lockout year, because I remember they were undefeated for so long, and they had that point streak going. Number 3 started the game with a goal, Seth Jarvis. Number 2 started the game with 2 goals, Alex DeBrincat. Number 1 started the game with a goal and assist, Derek Stepan. Oilers over the Predators, 5-2 the Oilers. 8-1-0. Nashville 5-5-0. Number 3 started the game, had a good game, no points, Tyson Barrie. Number 2 started the game with 2 assists, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. Number 1 started the game with 2 goals and an assist, Leon Draisaitl. Blue Jackets over the Avalanche 5-4 in overtime on a game winner by Jake Bean. Columbus is 6-3-0. Colorado is 4-4-1. Number 3 started the game with 3 assists, Gabriel Landeskog. Number 2 started the game with 2 goals and an assist, Bowen Byram. Number 1 started the game with 2 goals, Jake Bean. And the Kings over the Blues 3-2 in a shootout. The Kings are 4-5-1. St. Louis 6-1-1. Number 3 started the game with a goal and an assist, Torrey Krug. Number 2 started the game with 33 saves on 35 shots, Jonathan Quick. And the number 1 started the game with the goal and the shootout winner, Arthur Kaliev. All right, now we look ahead to tonight, big window. 7 o'clock, you have the Red Wings and the Bruins. The Bruins are monster favorites tonight at -275. Detroit's +220. Over under 5.5. Over's -106. Under's -114. Detroit +1.5 is -128. Boston -1.5 is +104. I'm going to take the over in this game. I think there's going to be more goals than expected here. Lightning Maple Leafs. Toronto -142. Lightning +118. Over under 6. Over's -105. Under's -115. Tampa +1.5 is -230. Maple Leafs -1.5 is +184. No Kucherov is a big deal, but I'm still going to take the Lightning on the road at +118. Islanders Canadiens. Islanders -140. Montreal +116. Over under 5.5. Overs +112. Unders -138. Islanders -1.5 is +136 or what? 176. My bad. And Montreal +1.5 is -220. This is a tough one here. Montreal is starting to play a little bit better, racking some wins up. But to me, this feels like a game that could potentially have an unexpected over with an empty net goal. So I'm going to go over 5.5 at +112 here. Golden Knights Senators. Golden Knights making some news this morning. I'll get to them in news and notes. They're -132 on the road. Ottawa's +110 over under 5.5. Overs -120. Unders -102. Vegas -1.5 is +194. Ottawa +1.5 is -245. I'm gonna go take a shot here at the dog of the Sens at +110. I just think that at home, Vegas on the East Coast, time adjusting and such. So give me Ottawa +110 in a trap game for Vegas. Capitals Panthers. Panthers -154. Caps +128. Over under 6. Overs -114. Unders -106. Caps +1.5 is -215. Florida -1.5 is +172. Florida is yet to suffer a regulation loss this season. I think there's a chance that it happens tonight. Give me Washington +128 to win straight up. Flyers Penguins. Pens -132. Flyers +110. Over under 6. Overs -118. Unders -104. Flyers +1.5 is -250. Penguins -1.5 is +198. This might be my favorite pick on the board tonight. I'm going to take Philly +110. No Crosby is COVID. A lot of their other players have COVID. So, taking the Flyers +110 to win in Pittsburgh. 9 o'clock, the Stars and the Flames. Calgary minus 156, Stars plus 130, over under 5.5. Overs plus 106, unders minus 130. Dallas plus 1.5 is minus 220. Calgary minus 1.5 is plus 176. I am going to go with, let's go Calgary in regulation at plus 105. I just think that they're a beast at home, and I think that they'll be out ready to go tonight. 10 o'clock, the Sabres at the Kraken. Kraken minus 188, Buffalo plus 155, over under 5.5, minus 110 each way. Buffalo plus 1.5 is minus 188, Seattle minus 1.5 is plus 152. I don't get the Seattle thing. I don't get it. You're 3-6-1 and you're this big of a favorite. Give me Buffalo plus 155 to win outright. And 10:30, the Blues and the Sharks. Blues minus 140, Sharks plus 116, over under 5.5. Overs minus 120, unders minus 102. Blues minus 1.5 is plus 186. Sharks plus 1.5 is minus 235. Second of a back-to-back for the Blues after losing to the Kings. So I understand bounce-back spot notion. I'm going to go with the under, though, at minus 102. I think this is a lower-scoring game. The Sharks have been surprisingly decent on the fence end and net at times this year, so I think that the Blues may have some tired legs. I kind of like the under in this spot. Under 5.5 at minus 102. All right, now move on to Major League Soccer, where we will recap last night's window. I don't think there's any games on today, but we'll see. And there's not, as Sunday's actually the last day of the regular season. Club Football Montreal over Houston 2-0. Goal scored by Rudy Camacho in the 58th minute and Kamal Miller in the 62nd minute. Red Bulls Atlanta 0-0 draw. Austin over at KC 3-1. Goal scoring, Atlanta in the first minute by Sebastian Driussi. Julio Cascante in the 22nd minute. And Jared Stroud in the 60th minute. And then KC made it a 3-1 game on a goal by Johnny Russell in the 65th minute. Portland over Salt Lake 3-1. Goal scorers, Portland Sebastian Blanco in the 17th minute. And then Aaron Herrera own goal in the 38th minute. Then Blanco again in the 45th minute. And then Real Salt Lake gets a garbage time goal on a penalty kick by Albert Rusnik in the 88th minute to make it a 3-1 game as Portland came out on top. So Sunday's the final day of the regular season. We'll preview and pick all those games on tomorrow's podcast, and then we will obviously cover the playoffs within the next month. College football, we will recap the games from yesterday and look ahead to tonight's game as Central Michigan defeats Western Michigan 42-30. Central 5-4, Western 5-4. And Kent State over Northern Illinois 52-47. Kent 5-4, Northern Illinois 6-3. All right, one game tonight, 7:30 on ESPN, Georgia State and Louisiana. I project Louisiana by 13, total of 52-65. Meanwhile, it is 12.5 and 52.5. So the total moved a point last night. Very close numbers, of course. Half-point edge on Louisiana and 1/10 of an edge on the over. So a slight lay edge of Louisiana Lafayette minus 12.5 and minus 112. I don't think I went with Louisiana as a big favorite all season, and a very slight edge to the over as well. So the podcast play slight to Louisiana, and the second pick would be a slight to the over. All right, now we'll preview and predict Thursday Night Football. You have the Jets riding high off the upset win over the Bengals against Carson Wentz and the Colts, coming off the devastating loss to the Titans. I project Indy by 10 3/4, total 46-8. Meanwhile, it is 10.5 and 45.5. Again, very close numbers. The spread is about where I have it. Only a quarter of an edge on the Colts. And then I have a 1 3/10 edge on the over. So podcast play is going to be the over. I can't believe I'm saying this. And the case for it, albeit a slight one, is that Mike White performs well again tonight, and Carson Wentz and the Colts offense picks off where they left off against the Titans. So podcast play is slightly into the over 45.5, and then second play would be a slight layage of the 10.5 for Carson Wentz and the Colts. Now I'm going to go over the current leaderboard at the Worldwide Technology Championship, aka the OHL Classic. In first right now, very early, with a score of 5 under, is Chris Kirk. Tied for second, big tie for 2 under, Danny Lee, Roger Sloan, Ian Poulter, Troy Merritt, Rui Sabatini, Ryan Moore, and Aaron Weiss. Tied for 9th with 1 under, James Hahn, Scotty Scheffler, and Cesar V. Tied for 12th at even. This is a big group right here. Taylor Hoge, Camilo Vegas, Adam Putnam, Joel Dahman, Peter Manlotti, Andrew Landry, Kevin Tway, Charles Howell III, Jimmy Walker, Brett Horschel, Danny Willett, Ryan Palmer, Tony Finau, Joaquin Neiman, Justin Thomas, Tyrell Hatton, Charlie Hoffman, Graham McDowell, and Matt Kuchar. Tied for 31st with 1 over, Walter Zalatoris, Harold Varner III, Brooks Koepka, Patrick Rodgers, Jonas Blixt, Ricky Fowler, and Martin Laird. And I don't know if I mentioned Shane Lowry or not. I think I did. And in 39th with 2 overs, Nate Lashley. So that's it for the tournament thus far. The Worldwide Technology Championship. Obviously, we'll have a clearer sense of where things are on tomorrow's show. News and notes time. We have to start with the New Jersey Gubernatorial election. I'm just going to throw this in the news and notes because we finally have a winner, and I should say declared winner, and that is Governor Phil Murphy, as he has this thing pretty much wrapped, according to the Associated Press, by 20,000 votes over Republican Jack Ciattarelli. And some of the votes aren't even coming through yet, still at 98%, but they are comfortable calling it because the places where they still need the votes from are in Essex County and Passaic County, especially the town of Patterson, which is a very Democratic city, and a lot of Essex County's blue, so they were comfortable calling it as it looks like that Phil Murphy will be in office another 4 more years. The other big story that broke out this morning is that the Buffalo Sabres finally trade Jack Eichel, and he'll be traded to the Vegas Golden Knights for Peyton Curbs, Alex Tuck, a 2022 first, and a 2023 third. And Eichel also gets a 2023 third in the deal as well. I think that's a nice haul back for Buffalo, getting Curbs and then a role player in Tuck who they could always flip again, and a bunch of picks. And then the pick in the Eichel deal, the first round, there's a top 10 protected. And in the trade, all the salaries, or I should say none of the salaries were retained in the deal. Meanwhile, for Vegas, I think this is a great deal. They continue their all-in push. There's 2 teams in all sports that really have been pushing all their chips in the center and haven't won yet. And it's the Vegas Golden Knights in hockey, and it's the Los Angeles Rams in football. We saw the Rams with Von Miller the other day. Now we see the Golden Knights in hockey with Jack Eichel. I think that Eichel will really help the Golden Knights. Yeah, it takes away some of their prospect depth and whatnot, but I look at that as somewhat of a discount, even though Buffalo, I do like that they got Curbs back in the deal and a pick. But Jack Eichel is a star, and he's going to be motivated to play on a new team, a market that really loves its team. Their fans will welcome him with open arms. As I was just saying this, I was texting my friend Steve, who was on the show last week just now, and we were saying how Vegas has been acquiring big name after big name over the past couple of years. There's Max Pacioretty and Mark Stone, Alex Pietrangelo, and now Jack Eichel. Whether it's, by the way, trade or free agency, Pietrangelo's free agency. And then it was Pacioretty and Stone by trade, and now Eichel by trade. So, great deal for Vegas. Solid return for Buffalo. And meanwhile, Calgary threw out an offer, or not threw out, but was willing to offer Matt Tkachuk and a package of picks and prospects to the Sabres in exchange for Eichel. But I wonder if they just like Peyton Curbs better, or if they thought that Vegas had a better chance to self-combust a little bit than Calgary, and the pick would be better. But that's really interesting that Calgary was wanting to give up Matt Tkachuk, which would have been a huge get-back return for the Sabres. And Eichel is to have surgery soon, as they hope he'll return in 4 months after he undergoes disc replacement surgery. So 4 months from now would be March. So he'll be back just in time for the stretch run of the season. Sidney Crosby has COVID-19. I said that during the NHL segment, as well as Brian Dumoulin. Those are 2 big losses for the Pens. Meanwhile, great news. Pekka Rinne going into the Nashville Raptors as the longtime Predators goalie will be the first Nashville player to have his number retired in February. I believe it's February 22nd. So we're going to have Henrik Lundqvist's number retired in January, and then Rinne's number retired in February. Some other big stories. Odell Beckham Jr. There's rumors that he really is, quote unquote, not with the team, as Cleveland coach Kevin Stefanski told players that Odell is essentially not on the team right now, as he was excused again today. And rumor has it that Vegas and the Saints are among the teams that could go after Odell if the Browns release him. That would be a disaster if they released him. And that would just declare victory on that trade for the New York Giants. I never would have thought that 2.5 years ago. And the other big story from yesterday in the NFL is that Aaron Rodgers tests positive for COVID and won't play on Sunday against the Chiefs. Apparently he is unvaccinated. And apparently Twitter was going crazy, and they found an old quote by Rodgers saying that he was amused after a new report that he is unvaxxed. And Rodgers pensioned the NFL to have an alternate treatment he received to be considered the same as the vaccination, as he was denied the vax petition. So that is a huge loss for the Packers. And they brought back Blake Bortles and signed him to the practice squad. And then I think we talked about this yesterday with Henry Ruggs, as he was involved in a crash that killed a 23-year-old woman, as he was accused of driving 156 miles per hour before the fatal crash, with the BA level at twice the legal limit, and there was a loaded gun in the car. Wow. And obviously he was released. I believe I touched on that yesterday. Yet another distraction for the Raiders. And we'll see if this comes back to bite him and that the Giants can take advantage of all this on Sunday. Oklahoma State banned from the 2022 NCAA tournament as NCAA rejects the appeal related towards the men's basketball infractions from the 2017 after FBI probe. So that stinks for Oklahoma State. The Giants had a COVID scare. The New York Football Giants, as the team is taking precautions after 30 members initially tested positive on Tuesday, but 12 retests were negative. Dolphins GM Chris Greer says that they're very happy with Tua and his development, and they're just quote-unquote checking in on Deshaun Watson's trade availability. So, the Rangers' 2018 first-round pick, Kravtsov, loaned to the KHL for the season. So, that's just unfortunate for Kravtsov, as he didn't make the team and he refused to go to the AHL. Now he's in the KHL. It's very, very unfortunate. And it looks like the Rangers might have missed on that pick. Michael Thomas done for the season. As we talked about yesterday, he made a statement. This is because of the ankle injury. But they're 5-2 without Michael Thomas. So, yeah, it's a big loss, but they're still 5-2 without him. But honestly, their bigger loss might be Jameis Winston, because he was playing well. And now they have to turn to former Bronco Trevor Siemian. Montez Sweat could miss up to a month after suffering a broken jaw during the loss to the Broncos. That's unfortunate for the Washington professional football team's defense. Buster Posey's retiring, as he plans to announce his retirement today. Congrats to Buster Posey, fabulous career, three-time World Series champion. And that's really a big deal, because Posey really had an impact on that Giants team this year, and now they have Joey Bart waiting they have Joey Bart waiting in the wings. And I think that Joey Bart will be a good player someday. Daryl Morey was asked about Ben Simmons' return, as Simmons restated that he is not mentally ready when he reached out to Daryl Morey about his playing status. Meanwhile, Kyrie Irving, Steve Nash says that Irving would be welcomed back regardless of vaccination status if new Mayor Eric Adams changes the COVID-19 mandate. I mean, I hope he does. It would be good for the Nets. It would be good for Kyrie Irving. So, we'll see what Eric Adams does. And like I said yesterday, I'm not a fan of anything that de Blasio has done. And I think that even though they're in the same political party, it doesn't mean that they'll carry the same philosophies. And that's how bad I think de Blasio is. But I think it's literally the worst. Drake wants the WNBA in Toronto, as he was posting some stuff on his Instagram story, and he was having fun with it on social media. Okay, now we'll do Masked Singer from last night. It was a good episode. Group B showed up. The last wild card was revealed at the end of the show. It's a Thanksgiving-themed show. Guest panelist Joel McHale. So Mallard went first, talks about being in a famous family. There was a flower in a vase. There was a whale, a photo frame. And the song he sang, Play Something Country by Brooks and Dunn, Luke Bryan asked him to sing. His one-word clue, crown. Because of vocals and made me think of Luke Bryan a little bit, because this person, Luke Bryan, are co-workers on American Idol, and I'm thinking of the one and only Lionel Richie. Obviously, famous family. Some of the clues make some sense. And Lionel Richie's not a country guy. I'm not convinced that this is a country singer. So I'm going to go with Lionel Richie. I was hearing like his tone under that Mallard mask. Jenny guessed Billy Ray Cyrus. Robin said Keith Urban. Nicole went with Jack Osbourne and John Rich. And the celebrity bestie, Chris Pratt, keeps coming up with this performer. Next up, the Caterpillar. He was alone and he was separate from his family. And he's a telemarketer to reach out to them. And he wasn't sure if the family wanted him, but the family wound up welcoming him with open arms. I know this made people assume that he was adopted. This person performed It's Gonna Be Me by NSYNC. And his one-word clue is pop. I'm going to continue with my guess of Joey McIntyre from New Kids. This is definitely a boy bander. I know we had New Kids as Donnie Wahlberg as the Cluedo Do last year, but as we know, he only performed once, and then he was unmasked towards the end of the season. I believe it was the semifinals when Jenny absolutely lost her mind because of her husband being on the show. So I'm going to go with Joey Mac. They haven't guessed him yet. And I'm getting New Kids vibes. Ken Jung said Keegan-Michael Key. But Jenny McCarthy almost pressed the take it off buzzer. She came very close, but she was talked out of it. She was too afraid. And her guess, J.C. Chazé. She also threw Joy Fatone, but I don't see the same person doing the show twice. Although there's no rule saying that you can't do it twice, as they pointed out last time. But I don't think it's Joey, although it kind of had Joey's personality, ironically enough. And then Robin stuck with A.J. McLean. Queen of Hearts. There was a notebook. She said the press wasn't kind to her. She was described words like stupid and simplistic, chubby, dumb. There's a cowboy hat in there. There's a note that said, with love, and this person performed River by Bishop Briggs. Phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. I think this was very reminiscent to The Sun performing an a cappella song 2 seasons ago, which was last year. And her one-word clue was home. I am going to change up my guess here a little bit. I'm going to go with Gwen Stefani. I'm surprised her name has not been mentioned yet for Queen of Hearts. I get the vibe of her tone and her voice. Although this could be Lady Gaga or Christina Aguilera, but I'm going to go with Gwen Stefani. I felt like I was getting vibes of the former No Doubt star. Jenny McCarthy went with Tracy Musgraves. Robin went with Jessica Simpson. Nicole went with Jewel. Then came up Banana Split. There's a vacuum. They said the last time they worked together was a nightmare. Maybe they're a couple, maybe they're not. There's flowers, a newspaper. The song was Let Her Rip by the Chicks. One word, director. So, one of these people, or both of these people, are directors of something. I'm going to continue my guess of Carrie Underwood and Brad Paisley. I was getting vibes of Before He Cheats and the Sunday Night Football song, Waiting All Day for Sunday Night, with the ice cream. And then Banana could play piano. And I could see Paisley playing piano. Nicole threw out Nicole Sutter and Hugh Jackman. Jenny said Jeff and Emily Goldham. Robin said Sedgwick and Bacon. And Jill McHale said Zoe Deschanel and Raphael Morris. And the final Group B wild card, beach ball. They said that they were popular at an early age. There's a peach, maybe representing Georgia. Railroad crossing. They talked about reconnecting with their best friend after they found out they were doing the show. And there's money symbols in there. And the performance was to Party in the USA by Miley Cyrus. As they were performing, we realized that there was 2 of them. Beach ball had 2 heads. So there's 2 people in there. So there's no one word clue with them. Maybe because it was the last wild card. First impression guess, Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen that was my first impression. Robin said Dakota and Ellie Fanning and Kat Denning and Beth Veras. Ken Jung said Kim and Khloe Kardashian. And who went home? The beach ball. I said my first impression guess. And the Olsen twins were also my final guess. Ken's first impression and final was Kim and Khloe Kardashian. Jenny's first was Kim Juliak and Eric Jane. Her final, Snooki and JWoww. Joel's first impression, Tiffany Pollock and Tori Spelling. His final, Snooki and JWoww. He stole Jenny's. Nicole's first and final, Kristen Wiig and Annie Marleno. Robin's first and final, Kat Denning and Beth Veras. And who was it? Honey Boo Boo and Mama Jane. Honey Boo Boo was big about a decade ago. Reality TV show, stars, Honey Boo Boo and Mom, which was Mama Jane. And this made sense because the vocals were not very good. And Honey Boo Boo got very mature, but she still can't sing. She can't sing. She was literally screaming the words after she was unmasked. Well, she was not screaming while she was performing. But yeah, that was cool to see them. Good get for the show. Those are big name reality stars that we haven't seen in a minute. So the JWoww and Snooki guess was probably the closest because of reality TV. Alrighty, last but not least, my best bet of the day. Brought to you by FanDuel. There's a couple that I like. One in hockey and one in the NBA. But I'm going to go against the team that I picked for best bet maybe a week ago. It just shows how much things have changed. And that team is the Pittsburgh Penguins. I'm taking the Flyers as my best bet, laying 1 unit on Philly. The win straight up against the Pens. All right, so there you have it for today's show. I will be back tomorrow with the Big Friday show, recapping everything and looking ahead to tomorrow and the weekend. And obviously news and notes and best bet as well. Hope you guys have a great day, everybody.